Go ahead.
CSBK TV is now under the tech tent, and we're standing talking with Colin Fraser, our Director of Competition, and with Guy Crabtree from Chrysler Corporation Canada. Welcome, Guy.
Thank you.
Do that officially on air now.
Thank you.
Thank you, and the folks at Mopar and Chrysler Corporation for your strong support of this national series.
Well, we're certainly excited about it. We got involved with CSBK through Mopar, knowing that they're #1 sponsor now for CSBK. We do a lot of the promotional products for Mopar for their web stores. We got the great opportunity to offer retail merchandise, uniforms for the CSBK franchise. So yeah, we're really excited about it.
Well, I popped you on camera, Guy, because you were asking some very pertinent questions to Colin in regards to what happens under this tent. The ramp here for the inspection of the motorcycles, the scales off to the side. Colin, perhaps you could expand on that just a bit. What are we expecting from our national championship contenders?
Well, we have a rule book. Actually, we just got them from the printer. We have a lot of rule books. And the rule book outlines how you should prepare your motorcycle. It's a guideline. So, of course, there's a lot of gray areas and details. And what we do is we bring the bikes up here and we have a quick look at them. And it's more of a safety thing than a legality thing in terms of the rules. So we go over all the things that have to do with keeping the bike safe on the track, you know, retaining fluids, all that kind of stuff. And then hopefully your bike is prepared as per the rule book and through the general standards. And therefore we give you the sticker to tell you you're okay, or you go back and do a little work and come back and try again. So basically this is tech, and you have to clear tech before you can go on the track. So you go to registration, get your paperwork sorted out, the waiver and all that stuff, then you bring hopefully your race prepared motorcycle to tech. We have a quick look at it, and then off you go. Now, of course, as the weekend progresses, we do more rules-oriented things here in tech, and that's where we get into things like the scales or the great big dyno-jet dyno inside the great big trailer, because those are all methods we use to enforce the standards to make sure that there's a level playing field, that you're using the right tires, all those detail things that are crucial when you're up at the front of the pack.
And Guy, I hope you took that all in, because there will be questions later.
Okay, I'm learning. Now, one question I have is, do they have to come through here every time they go on the track? Is this during practice or race sessions? Or?
No, you have to come through the first time after you've come here and checked in. Then after that, you would have to come for post-session tech if you were one of the fastest guys, or if you've had a problem, or particularly if you've fallen down, we need to see that you've repaired the bike safely. And sometimes that's cursory, or if you had a major issue and had a lot of repairs, obviously we have to have a good look at the bike. And that also applies to medical. So if you've been involved in an incident, you have to go see the medical staff and get checked over just to make sure there's no issues that way.
Perfect. I should like to expand just a bit for Guy's knowledge, and indeed for our cameraman Bruce. Hello, Bruce.
For you though, you know everything.
No, I know everything. This dynamometer, Colin, I don't think there's dynamometer. Thank you very much. I don't think there's anything so heartbreaking as to have a rider go out there and put out his ultimate effort, win a race, and then find that he's lost the race because he makes too much horsepower. Your thoughts on that?
I think absolutely that's very frustrating to lose in post-race tech, and it's not good for the series, it's not good for anyone, because obviously we'd like what people see from the grandstand or see from television to reflect the actual outcome. However, the problem is to have standards that are easy to enforce, and in the old world, when we have very specific guidelines about every component inside the engine, you had to completely disassemble the engines to check them, which is very time consuming and expensive. So what we have essentially is a box. We have standards, you can weigh this much, you can have this much horsepower, you have to meet these other requirements in terms of preparation. If you can fit in the box, you're fine, but the problem is there has to be an absolute way of measuring, and of course taking them to the dyno where we can check the performance of the bike is that absolute method. Now it's important to understand that the dyno is open the whole weekend. It's not as if we snuck it out at you,
Gotcha.
Right? So there's lots of opportunity, and to be fair, sometimes there are mix-ups, and sometimes the teams get behind, and sometimes the teams get a little too aggressive. Now, at a track like this, or St. Eustache or Shubenacadie, horsepower really doesn't make any difference. It's not going to win you a race. It's the power delivery, it's the torque. But at places like Mount Tremblant, and particularly Mosport, at those tracks, that extra horsepower can make the difference between 5th and 1st, particularly because there's a lot of slipstreaming at somewhere like Mosport. So although I understand the frustration, I think it's also important that series have rules and that the staff enforce those rules so that the all the competitors believe that it's fair at the front. So if your riding gets to the level that would allow you to win, that you can produce a bike without a lot of complications and a lot of expense that would allow you to do that. And of course the perfect example of that is the CBR 250, where there's very, very limited modification, very low horsepower, and hopefully the plan there is it's all about the rider. All the bikes are identical, there's very little variance, so hopefully your riding skill is the definitive thing. Preparation doesn't come into it.
Very well said. Well, there's your little update from Under Tech Trailer, and again talking with Colin Fraser, our Director of Competition from Mopar CSBK, and from Mopar Chrysler Corporation, Guy Crabtree. Thanks for joining us.